to the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. I am your host, Tracy Bloom, and this is Books, Kids, and Creations, a podcast that features people around the world who inspire and uplift future generations with their work. I am here today with Matthew Kennedy, who is the creative director. Well, he's been the creative director for many companies that you will all know the names of, including PBS. He's worked with Animal Planet and Cartoon Network, lots of really fun places. And today he's here with us to talk about the incredible work he's done. Thank you for being here.
Oh gosh, thank you.
Yes. So for our listeners who don't really know what a creative director does, can you go into just kind of a high level of what that is?
Well, day by day, I'm not 100% sure myself, but if you think about things that are made to tell you about things, or products, the way they look, how you interact with them, that has someone somewhere saying, what's the best way to do this? What's the way this looks and feels that will make people like it an awful lot? So that's what a creative director does at the big level, is generally working with a team of creative people, whether they're making video or working on a print piece or a website or video game, and making sure that everyone's doing what they need to do to meet that goal.
Yeah, well, that's it. It seems like you would wear a lot of hats in your job and be responsible for a lot of different things. And I saw that you've done work with Animal Planet and Cartoon Network and PBS and all these great things that, I mean, people of all ages know. So how did you get started in this? Did you go to school for marketing, or how did it all begin?
Marketing's a good way to go, because a lot of what you're doing is making something to appeal to someone else. So a lot of things that we might want to make is a personal extension of ourselves, where we've got something and we want to share it. But when you're working on the other end, you've got to understand what appeals to someone else. And that's what marketing does. I started out as a music major, of all things, way back when, and I was a pretty good musician. And I went to college and I learned that there's some better musicians out there. The competition was like, wow. And I wasn't disappointed, because once I was at the university, I was exposed to so many different things. And some of my classes were more focused on writing, and that led me into broadcast television. And so I think I learned how to think and how to write in college. And that set me on the path to work in media. And so, yeah, basically back then, working at a television station, a local TV station, was a great way to learn hands-on training, because there's not so many people working there. And so once I got my first job, I got to see how cameras worked, and I got to write things, and eventually directed shows like our kids show, and just exposed to a lot of different opportunities. And that allowed me to move up to bigger, higher profile jobs, Cartoon Network and Animal Planet and PBS, all national. So start out small, but I thank some of my teachers in college who taught me how you've got to be open to so many experiences to do anything. And I took some classes where I read books that I never would have read by myself. But once you start reading a lot and exposing yourself to art and other things, you see how it all fits together and how you can work with a lot of things. And I think that's the real joy and excitement of my career path, is I got to do so many different things and play around with so much different stuff. And it was always an adventure.
Yeah. I looked at just some of the materials that you've created over time, and there's these really fun, engaging videos. Some of them were Animal Planet, and then there was even toys. And I thought, wow, did you have to undergo some kind of training for design, or how did that come together?
We have to learn and advance our skills, but you don't necessarily have to go to school to do that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier on, it was probably writing that set me on the path. And writing is one of those wonderful things where you're trying to find a way to communicate an idea to somebody that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be really clear, but you've also got to be very engaging. And you've got to get their interest, and you've got to get them to read the next word, the next sentence, the next paragraph, until they get to the end of the story and they've gone on this voyage. And what's fun about writing is, of course, it's not you at that point. The person reading it, they're saying, oh, that girl who's having this adventure, that reminds me of my cousin, or, oh, I went to the beach one time. And so they're adding their own story to what you're writing to make it something richer than what it started with just on a piece of paper. It becomes alive. And so if you think about writing in that way, to make what we call a linear story, which is a book, you start at the first word and end on the last. And video, whether it's a little piece of marketing, some of my work was as short as 5-10 seconds, just a little logo on the screen, 30 seconds to tell somebody about a new show, 3 minutes to do a behind the scenes where you see who's making the show, who's how they put it together, all the way up to a half-hour program. You're still going along in this straight line. But print and digital is a little bit different in that there still has to be a story, and it has to engage somebody, and you have to bring them along from the beginning to the end. But you're doing it on one piece of image, one page. And that's what's interesting, because where do they look first? What captures their attention? What do they look at? What do they read? What do they get? How do they get from the beginning to end? Everybody could do that differently. But when you're doing nonlinear, that is, things that are not starting and ending in a straight line, you still have to do the same work. You have to say, okay, I want you to look at this. I want you to understand what I'm telling you. And most importantly with marketing, it's like, I want you to take some kind of action. I want you to either feel a certain way about what I'm telling you, and we call that branding. So branding is, this TV channel or this company is doing a certain thing that appeals to me. Or you can do product specific, and that's more common, but, well, I shouldn't say more common, it's as common, where you're saying, okay, I want you to take an action. I want you to watch this program. I want you to buy this product. I want you to go to this place. And so if you haven't done that, you haven't done your job. And so I think it's very exciting to work in both these mediums, which is, I can tell you a story from beginning to end, or I can present to you the story in one piece, and you find your way from beginning to end. And I'm using all the tools and skills and knowledge that I have to make you come to the same conclusion that I'm hoping you will, as you would in a story. They're both stories.
Yeah, I love that you look at it as storytelling. I mean, I don't know why I've never thought about, marketing and branding and showing content as storytelling, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're bringing people on a journey.
Well, that's probably, as far as we know anyway, what makes us as people special. We tell stories, and we've told stories forever. That's why what you do is so powerful and important. We've got to keep making new stories all the time. And as we experience more and different things, we can add to our story. We can create whole new things. We can get excited about what we've learned and what we're telling. And then hopefully we can share that with someone else, whether you're talking to a friend on the phone or texting them, or whether you're sitting with someone at dinner, we're all telling stories all the time, and it's what our power is. And of course, there's good stories and bad stories. I don't mean good and well told or bad, but not everything's joyful and happy. Some things are serious.
Yeah.
And so we've got to learn how to communicate with each other and express ourselves and tell people how we're thinking in this way that is our own personal story. It's our most powerful skill we have as humans.
Yeah. And from all of the different experiences that you've had in this field, do you have any that stand out as favorite projects or things that you've worked on or helped bring to life?
I was worried about this question because I've had such a good time. I've had so many opportunities. I've had the chance where people said, we don't know what to do. We trust you to figure it out.
Oh.
And I got to try things. And there's no greater gift than to be allowed to do something new, to be able to say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to try. And if you're fortunate enough, you'll be with people that say, keep trying.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, learn from that and try again and try again. And we know we're going to get there and we're going to learn along the way. And I've done that so many times. You talked about when I got to make toys. I didn't have training making toys. It was just an opportunity. And I learned, I think, how to do it pretty well because it's just another type of story.
Yeah.
And it's not about me, what I want to play with. It's understanding what someone else might want to play with. And so I'm making something for them to make their own story. And that's really no different than anything else I've ever done. It's just a different way. And I made some mistakes. The broken glass toy I made, terrible idea. No, I'm joking. Even I knew not to try that.
Broken glass toy.
But I think when I think of all the stuff I did, I've gotten an opportunity to meet a lot of different people and work with wonderful people and find out what they're doing. People who I've seen, on television or on media, and get to talk with them in the dressing room and hear what their life was like. I got to meet a man named Jonas Salk. Now, that's not a familiar name now,
No.
but he was a scientist who invented the polio vaccine.
Wow.
So to get to meet people like that is a wonderful opportunity. I met the man who discovered a planet. I used to be excited about saying that, but now that planet's no longer a planet. It's called a planetoid. Yeah, it's Pluto, which was once a planet, and now we figure it's a little smaller than that. A guy named Clyde Tombaugh.
And if there's children's authors who often tune in and listen to this podcast, in respect to toys that accompany books, do you think there's a benefit for authors to have or to just research toys to go with books, or is that something that take it or leave it type of thing?
No, it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But personally, I think if I was writing a book for children or anyone, I wouldn't think about it as a book. I would think about it as the experience. And so how can what I'm creating, if it's a good idea and I really believe in it, how can it be with people wherever they want it to be? Because again, my training is marketing, and it's not about me, it's about the person I'm talking to. And they call that in marketing 360, or experiential marketing, because you want it to get off of the screen or off of the page and be useful to people however they want to come in at it, especially now, because there's so many ways you can, they call it an intellectual property or an IP in this world. And if you want to be at a store and you see something you want to take home and play with and you love it, and then you find out there was a book, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Or if you find out that there's a TV show about it, it helps it come together even more. If you're very lucky with your concept and it can become a physical thing, whether it's at a playground, at a park,
Yeah.
you know, the different types of screens. Is it a video game? Is it an app? Is it a movie? That's where it becomes its own thing, and what you created is communicating, finding value to people however they want to find it, and hopefully any one of those ways brings them into more and more and more. So I think, for me anyway, that to watch something take off like that would be so satisfying and exciting, and I would jump at the chance. I'm coming at it though from usually thinking about how is something sustainable too. So,
Yeah.
you know, so it's not a bad thing that if you've got a property that can create these other platform extensions that can support you to make more,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very good thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not dirty or wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You're really doing it to let people experience it in a different way. And if your hard work can be recognized and help you do more, hooray.
Yeah. Just listening to you talk is so inspirational. I mean, I'm sure that every writer that's listening of all ages are going to be inspired by what you do and, all of the great things you've already done. Do you have any future projects on the horizon that you want to talk about or that you're able to talk
I actually am at a crossroad about what I want to do, and I'm fortunate enough that I'm been contacted by a few different groups, and I'm just trying to decide what the next journey should be. It has been mostly brand media that I've been working with, and I've done it for children audiences, adult audiences, a mix of families and kids, and I love that field. But like we've been talking about with more experiential things like theme parks, apps, these kind of things, I want to learn more. I want to find out more, and so I'm looking into some of those things.
That's exciting. That's really.
You want to meet my dog?
Yes, please.
She's been sitting here. Come here, Duffy.
Oh,
Girl, Duffy, up, come on.
mine wandered in here and then she left. So.
Oh, here's Duffy. Oh, Duffy. She was asleep next to me, but there's Duffy.
Oh.
She says, "Why?"
I love dogs.
Duffy's an Airedale Terrier, and there was children's book author Tommy de Paloma. I can't remember his last name, but he wrote about 400 books, and he was an illustrator. And he had his picture on the back was him in his convertible with his Airedale, and so that makes me like him even more.
One of the last.
Well, that's my advice: get yourself an Airedale. They're inspirational.
Get an Airedale. I could just picture lots of adventures with an Airedale.
They're made for adventures.
They are. That sounds like a tagline. Made for adventure, Airedale.
Airedale. Hey, you're in marketing. We're all in marketing.
It's been so much fun having you here today, and I'm just so thrilled that I got to talk to you and feature some of your incredible work. For people who want to learn more about you, we will include a link to your website. And it's just been so fun talking with you today.
Oh gosh, well, thank you. I think it's such a pleasure to meet someone of your caliber and talent, and what you're doing is amazing and wonderful. I would just say, if anyone's still watching at this point, don't say no. If someone says, "Do you want to be on my podcast?" Say, "Sure, why not?" It's an experience. Do as much as you can to absorb as much as you can.
Yes.
So that's your job now, is to call everyone and have them do a podcast.
I love doing this. It's great. I get to talk to so many neat people. I mean, just like you're saying, it's exciting to meet new people and hear their stories and
It's all about story.
yeah. So it's been wonderful learning yours. So thank you so much.
Thank you.